Hi, welcome to your gentle yoga class. My name is Alesha and I'm here to guide you through your practice today. Today we'll be using a mat, a sturdy chair, and a wall. So have a clear wall with no paintings or anything on it that you can use that space. So I'll invite you to find a comfortable seat, and you might like to sit up near the edge of the seat if you're feeling a little bit sleepy, you want to keep a little more alert. Or if you're looking for a little more support today, you could always go towards the back of the chair and even lean into the support. Now from here, I'll guide you through just a quicker body scan. So we'll tune into our body and connect with it. If you find it easier to connect with the physicality of yourself with your eyes closed, then go ahead and close your eyes. Or if you like, you can just keep your gaze soft, and sometimes it helps to look at something out in front of you, maybe a candle or something else. Now see if you can grow tall throughout your whole back. So your neck is getting long, but there's not a lot of effort, so we're just growing a little bit taller. From here, bring your attention to your feet, your toes, the soles of your feet, the tops of the feet, and even the ankles. And just notice your feet here. Your feet on the ground and any sensation the feet have to offer. You might notice the temperature of your feet or feelings within your feet. Noticing any sensation within the ankles. And then guide your attention up to your calves and all the way around your lower legs. And see what you can feel here. So you might feel your clothing on your legs, or again, you might feel temperature. Then from here, bring your attention up to your knees. Option to stay there, or maybe you bring your attention up to your thighs and hips as well. So the whole mid to upper leg. And here you might feel a little bit of pressure as you're sitting in the chair. And see what else you can notice here. Then guide your attention up to your abdomen and your back, your chest, and your whole torso all the way around. And here often there is a little more rhythm felt, a little more movement. You might feel your breathing, or you might feel your heartbeat. Or perhaps you feel something else. And just notice what you notice here on the torso. Gently guide your attention up now to your shoulders and your upper arms. And see what you can sense there. And then guide your attention down to your elbows and your forearms. Just bringing awareness to your lower arms. And eventually bringing your attention to your wrists and your hands and fingers and thumbs and all the way around the hands and wrists. And sometimes, like the feet, this can be kind of alive with sensation, tingling, or maybe something else. And then bring your awareness now up to your neck, your head, perhaps even your face. And softening a little bit throughout the face if you can. And then start to guide your attention to expand throughout your whole body. So noticing your whole body here and all the parts together working as one. From here, start to wake up your fingers and toes a little bit. You might find a little wiggle of the fingers and toes, or maybe you start to add a movement of your wrists or your legs, or really any kind of movement that feels natural that will connect you to your body a little bit more. If your eyes were softened or closed, you can start to lift your gaze. Maybe you blink a few times as you're letting some more light in. And then we'll find some gentle movement to start, so you can reach your shoulders up towards your ears and then send them back and down. And if you like, you could add breath. So maybe you inhale to lift, and then exhale as you soften your shoulders back behind you. So making these little loops with the shoulders. And you might notice that your arms want to follow because they're connected. So they like to kind of hang out together. They'll go along with each other. Just breathing and moving, waking up the shoulders. And a couple more times like that. Lifting, breathing in. Lowering, breathing out. And then one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Soften your shoulders down. We'll wake up through the arms a little bit more. So we'll come into sun breath. If your shoulders are feeling a little sticky today, you could always reach your arms forward and up. Or if they're feeling kind of okay, you can bring your arms out by your sides, reach your palms up. And either way, inhale, reach your arms up any amount. That could be overhead or maybe not so much today. Eventually your palms touch, and as you exhale, bring your hands down through the midline of your body. And we'll do that a few times. So reaching out or forward and up. Inhale to rise. Palms touch. Exhale, arms lower down. So we're just getting a little movement. Breathing, inhale to rise. Exhale, arms lower. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, hands float down. And then one more time like that. Inhale, rise. Exhale, arms lower down. This time we'll do a little wrist stretch. So you can bring your right hand out in front of you and press your palm forward like you're going to make a big stop sign as you spread your fingers wide. Now, if this is bringing a stretch to your wrists and your palm and hand, feel free to stay here. Or if you like to increase the stretch, you could bring your left hand across the base of your knuckles and then pull slightly back. So we're just going to a place where you feel a nice stretch. You can still breathe. And we'll stay here for 3 more breaths. Still staying grounded in your seat. Still keeping tall throughout your back. Follow one last breath. And then when you're ready, soften your hands down. And we'll switch sides. So left hand presses forward, spread the fingers wide. I know that you can stay right here, that's great. Or if you like, you can bring your right hand across the base of the knuckles and then tug slightly back towards your face as you press your left palm forward. And then remain here for 3 breaths. And of course, if you need to take a break at any point in time, go ahead. But we'll just try to stay and follow the breath. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, soften your arms down. We'll move on to the legs. So we'll wake up throughout our legs a little bit here. You can start to scoot your way forward if you're not forward already on the chair. And then from here, you could choose to keep your hands by your sides, or you might even hold on to the chair for support. And take a breath in. Now this time, as you exhale, lift your right knee up. And inhale, lower it down. Exhale, lift your left knee up. And inhale, lower your left foot and knee down. So we'll alternate sides just like a march, moving with breath. And sometimes I find this exhale with the effort can be a little more stabilizing around the belly and back area. So for me, it feels a little more strong, like I have a little more oomph. But if you want to go with the regular yoga breath, go right ahead. So that would be an inhale to rise. You might start to feel some heat build up around the legs, or you might feel your heart going a little faster. Just notice what you feel here as you're moving and alternating sides. You might notice one side feels different than the other. And we'll go for just 2 more each way. So right knee and lower, left knee and lower, just 1 more to the right. And 1 more to your left. Eventually land the feet down. So you might start to feel that around the hip flexors. Sometimes you might even feel it kind of deep into your belly, into your thighs. So it's great for strengthening above the knees and the hip area. We'll move on just for a moment, give our legs a break and move on to the lower legs and ankles. So we'll lift up onto the toes, raising up the heels, and then lower your heels down. Lift the whole front of your foot up, and you might start to feel the muscles on the front of your shins wake up. Soften your toes down, lift up your heels, feeling the back of your calves wake up. Forgot the word there for a second. And then lift up the whole front of your foot. And lower down. Now feel like you can inhale to rise, lifting your heels, and exhale to lower. And then perhaps you inhale, lift the whole front of your foot up. And exhale, lower. So just alternating breath, going at your own breathing time, your own breath time. Giving yourself time to switch in between sides, waking up throughout the lower body. So it's a gentle wake up, but this can be nice, especially to get the heart pumping, a little more blood flow in the feet. Still moving and breathing. Lifting your heels, lowering your heels, lifting your toes, lowering your toes, and just a couple more here each way. So lifting your heels, and then lowering them down, lifting your toes up, lowering them down. 1 more heel lift, and lower. 1 more toe lift. And lower. Let that go for a moment. And this time we'll work on the thighs again. So we'll come back up. This time we'll do a little kick. So you can kick your right foot forward. Maybe you hold on to the sides of the chair again. And kick out your foot. Now your knee doesn't have to be totally straight, but it can be if that feels all right on your knees. And then lower your foot down. Switch sides, so left foot kicks. And then lower down. Sometimes I'll inhale to kick. And exhale, lower. Inhale, left leg rises. And exhale, lower. Now if you feel like it's better to switch the breath, you feel a little more stability in the core that way, then go right ahead and exhale to lift your leg. And then inhale to lower. It's all good. And if this really is a lot to coordinate your breath with your movement, then just breathe. It doesn't have to be fancy. Starting to feel the heat build up in the legs. You might even start to feel the heat rise up. Sometimes that happens to me. And just stay with whatever you're feeling. So just do your best to stay with it. And then one more to the right. And one more to your left. Land the feet down. Now from here we'll think about coming up to stand using the chair. So if you tend to feel a little bit stuck coming up, you could always tuck your heels back behind you a little bit and then lean your torso forward. So your nose are over your toes, and then press into your feet, rise straight up to stand. If you tend to get dizzy when you're standing, just give yourself a moment and adjust. Well, bring the chair near one of the short edges of your mat, and the seat's facing in towards your thighs. Find your mountain stance. So your mountain could be with your feet about 2/5 distance apart, or about hips distance apart. And your arms could be by your sides with your palms forward and fingers spread out wide. And then go to a place where you can stand tall like a mountain. And just stay here for a breath. And let that come. Let the breath go out. Now, you can bring your hands to your hips here. And you might even bring a couple of your fingers in front of your hips. And see if you can find a door hinge here. So you're sending your bum back behind you as you flex at just the hips like a door hinge. And you might feel your torso getting closer towards your thighs. That's what we want. So finding the bend at the hips first, and then bring your hands down towards the chair. And we'll find table here. So this is a table with outer knees on the ground, which can be really nice for the knees. If this feels like a lot of pressure in your wrists, having your palms on the chair, you could actually bring your fist down instead with your thumbs forward, and that can be a nice option. Or you might just kind of switch throughout if you notice that there's extra pressure that builds up there. Now our hands are right under the shoulders and our feet are under our hips. If you feel like you're here and you're kind of rounding or your hips feel stuck, you could always bend your knees a little bit or even a lot, and that will help free up your pelvis. We'll come into cow, so start to tip your tailbone up. So imagine you have a tail and it's tipping up towards the ceiling as you lower your belly down towards the chair, and then reach your chest forward. Your gaze might be towards the top of the chair, and see if you could find a breath in here. Then when you're ready, either come back to center, or if it feels okay on your back today, you could tuck your hips under, around your spine, and let your head hang down. We'll alternate sides here. So inhale, come into your cow, sway the belly, lift your hips up. And then as you exhale, curl everything under and puff up between your shoulder blades as you press down. Another inhale, widening through the chest. Another exhale, curling under. From here, return to center. Press down firmly into your feet. You might even have a generous bend in your knees. And rise all the way up to stand to mountain. Perhaps your palms go forward as your shoulders relax. And just stay here for a breath. And a breath out. From here, we'll bring the chair off to the side, and we'll have access to a wall. So it's a wall that's clear. You don't need a whole ton of space, but you do need some. And we'll face the wall with your hands on the wall in front of your shoulders. So this is essentially our plank on the wall. From here, we'll come into four-limbed staff pose, or chaturanga. It's basically like a little push-up. So we'll do a few little push-ups here. So you're about an arm's distance away from the wall. If you find this easy, you could also walk your hands down a few inches, walk your feet back a little bit behind you, and that will increase the amount of effort you'll have to do this push-up. So your heels could be off the floor in that position. I'm just going to come up fairly in line with the wall, like a plank. And then when you're ready, bend your elbows and lower your chest towards the wall. Your heels might lift, and then press the wall away, coming back upright. You might even inhale, lower yourself towards the wall, and then press the wall away as you exhale and come back up. We'll do that one more time. So a little bend in the elbows, coming on forward, and then press the wall away and stand upright. Now if your feet were a little farther away, we'll walk them back in, and we'll find a mountain for a breath or two. If you need to shake out your wrists or do a few wrist circles, go right ahead. Just give them a break. From here, we'll come into cobra on the wall. So similar hand position where you bring your hands out in front of shoulders and start to, this time, puff your chest forward and up. So it's sort of like that cow from earlier. You might stay here with your chest towards your chin, or perhaps you look up towards the top corner of the room, so about 45 degrees or so. Now if you're here and you start to feel like your low back is a little bit pinchy, you could always try on your breath out to pull your belly button in and up just a little bit, so that reduces the curve of your low back. And if that feels kind of funny, don't worry about it. Just go to a place where you can stay for 3 breaths. So hands are secure on the wall, your feet are steady, and we're just finding a little bit of length throughout the whole front of the body. One more breath. And then when you're ready, if your gaze is up, you can bring it down, bring your chest and torso back to center, and eventually hands could come down. I feel like you could do a few wrist circles again, or if you're looking for a little more steadiness, just find mountain for a breath or two. The next posture I'll invite you to come into is downward facing dog on the wall. So we'll bring the hands out again on the wall and start to walk your feet farther back behind you. So you might start to go to a place where you feel really steady, and then your hands might even walk down just a little bit. Then start to send your hips back behind you as you find that door hinge action just at the hips. So it's like you're guiding your bum back behind you. And it might feel like really dramatic. Now, you might stay kind of on a wide triangle shape, if that feels okay on your shoulders and your hips. Or if you like, you can even walk your hands down further on the wall and your feet back a little farther behind you. Now your feet are still fairly wide, like mountain feet, so you find that hips distance apart. But you might start to look kind of like an upside down L shape on the wall. And again, if you're here and you feel like this is building up pressure around your low back or the backs of your thighs, then bend your knees. And it might even be quite a lot to bend your knees, but it can relieve that pressure, which is really nice. And it's like we're pressing the wall away and finding some length throughout the sides of your waist. I'll invite you to stay here for just 3 more breaths. So your arms might feel like they're really working, and your legs might feel like they're working, but see if you can find some space in between those 2 points. One more breath. And let your breath go out. Bend your knees, look up towards the wall, and then give yourself time to walk back in if your legs were behind you. Maybe even walk your hands up the wall. Go to a place where you feel really stable and secure, and then come back into mountain again. We'll just stay here for a breath. We'll find a little bit of a balancing shape. So this time, you might choose to use the wall for support, or if you feel pretty steady today, you could actually explore just freestanding. But it's nice to have a wall handy. We'll come into a balancing star. So press into your right foot and bring your left toes out to the side. Your hands could stay low or reach out wide like a big capital T. Now you might stay right here. This is great. You're working on balance already. Or if you don't feel a whole lot of challenge yet, you could lift your left toes up and then face them forward, moving from the hips so your toes face forward. And your toes might even flex up towards your kneecap. Now if you do a little tap up and down, that's fine too. See if you can stay here for 3. One more breath. And then eventually hands come down, feet land down. You might shake out the arms or shake out the feet a little bit in between. And we'll try the second side. So this time, left foot plants down, right toes go out to the side. Arms could stay low or go wide again, and maybe a hand's on a wall. That's okay. Perhaps you choose to lift your right toes up and then pivot from your hips so your toes point forward. Now we're working the outer hips here quite a lot. See if you can stay here and breathe. 3 breaths. Your gaze is steady on something that doesn't move. So sometimes I move. You can look at a spot on the wall or on the floor. Last breath. And then from here, feet land down, if they're up, arms come down. I'll invite you to find standing swinging twists. So walk your feet out a little bit wider. And if you're close to a wall, make sure you're not going to hit the wall and come a little farther away from it. Pivot on your left toes, face towards the right. Let your arms swing. And then pivot on your right toes, face towards the left. And just let your arms dangle and swing. Oh, see, there goes my knuckles. Hopefully you were a little more careful than me. And just breathing and moving, getting a little rotation, easy rotation throughout your upper back. If you're going fairly fast, then start to slow down the movement. Eventually, come back to stillness. Locate your chair, and we'll bring it on over to the mat again. So have at least 2 of the legs on the chair. I just find that's really nice so that we don't slip and slide all over the place. Make sure it's nice and steady. And then if you can, sit down really, really slowly. You might even tap your chair, make sure it's there, and then come on down. So we're working the legs a little bit that way. From here, we'll find a hip stretch and an inner thigh stretch. So you can walk your feet out a little bit wider. And just make sure your hips feel happy wherever you are. So you could be out fairly wide, you might be kind of in between. Maybe it's just a little motion here. It's all good. Your ankles and toes and knees and hips are all in kind of one long line. And they like to hang out together, so we'll keep them there. I'll invite you to come into goddess with breathing hands. So we have our goddess legs, and we'll add a little motion with our arms. So from here, you can clasp your hands in front of your chest. And then press your palms forward, reach up any amount as you breathe in. Exhale, arms go by your sides and float on down. Again, we'll clasp the hands in front of the chest. Inhale, press your palms forward, reach your arms up. And then exhale, everything floats back down. Now this time, just be aware of which thumb is on top. Inhale, press your palms forward, reach up. And as you exhale, let your hands float down. Now this time we'll change the cross of the hands. So other thumb is on top. Press your palms forward, inhale, reach up. And exhale, let your hands float down. Keep the same hand position. Palms press, breath in, and exhale. Hands come on down. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Now, if your legs are still wide, you can walk them on in or heel toe your feet in. This time we'll find a bit of a twist. So you can inhale, reach both of your arms up, and as you exhale, twist towards your right side. So you can do a little crisscross of your left hand to opposite thigh or knee. And your right hand could be behind you on your hip or on the chair. Now, if your hand's on the chair, there is a temptation to kind of yank yourself into the twist. But see if you could use the musculature of your body to twist instead. So we'll inhale, get tall. And then exhale, twist. You might feel like your chest is opening to the right side. Your gaze might be out to the right side. Or perhaps you even look behind you if it feels okay on your neck here. Remaining for just a couple more breaths. So we're finding length first, and then the twist second. Going to a place where it feels like just enough. One more breath. And let it go. Inhale, reach on up, unwind. And then we'll go over to the second side. So you can crisscross your right hand, your opposite knee or thigh. Your back hand could be to your hip or the chair. Get tall as you breathe in. And exhale, twist a little to your left. So a lot of the motion is coming up from the upper back and chest area. You might feel it lower down in your spine as well, but most of the rotation's up here. And then choose your gaze, wherever it makes sense for your neck today. So you could be looking kind of in line with your chest, or you might start to look behind you a bit. Settle into a spot where you'd like to stay for a couple more breaths. Last breath in. And out it goes. This time, unwind, inhale, reach up. It's like a big celebration. Exhale, let your hands come on down. This time we'll come into a side twist, so crescent moon side stretch in the chair. Bring your right hand out and palm up. Bring your arm, either your hand to your shoulder or up and over, and your bottom hand could be on your thigh, or maybe it's supported on the chair. Sometimes it feels really nice and secure there. And then choose your gaze. Your gaze could be straight out to the horizon, or perhaps you look up to your top arm. Settle in for 3 breaths. We're just opening up some space here on the right side of waist. Stay for your last breath. And let your breath go out. Inhale, rise on up. And as you breathe out, let your hand float down. We'll switch sides. So left palm faces up. Choose where you place your hand. So it could be on your shoulder today, or it might be up and over like a crescent moon. Either way is fine. We're just going for a side stretch, leaning over towards the right. And again, you might have that support on your thigh with your hand down there, or your right hand on the chair. 3 steady breaths, allowing your gaze to go where it goes. So it could be forward or up. One more breath. As you inhale, rise up, and exhale, let your hand come on down. This time both hands go in front of you, so You can settle into a shape where you'd like to end your practice in a meditative shape. So if you like to be near the front of your chair earlier, go there. Or if you feel better kind of scooting towards the back, go there. Your hands could be on your thighs. That can feel really supportive and grounding with palms down. Maybe if you're looking for a little more energy, you could bring your palms up towards the ceiling. Or even just let your arms dangle by your sides. Either way, go to a place where you could find stillness. And then start to soften your gaze a little bit. You could find somewhere to place your gaze on an object. Or maybe you soften your eyes and close them for a few minutes. And then from here, notice what has shifted within your body, what has changed. Maybe your heart rate has changed or your breath has changed. Maybe you feel a little more refreshed. What is it that has changed? And then from here, see if you could allow your body to soften a little bit. So if that means you need to lean into the chair or lean into a wall, or just allow the muscles to soften around your legs and your feet, around your belly and your back, around your arms and your shoulders. Maybe you even allow some of the muscles around your face or your jaw to soften. So we're leaning into some support a little bit more and allowing yourself to be held by the earth and gravity. If you notice that there's a particular area of your body that really likes to hold on, it's really good at being strong. Maybe you imagine you could bring some fresh air there as you breathe in some fresh oxygen to that spot. And sometimes on the breath out, you can consciously soften and allow it to let go just for now. It might take a few times. It's okay to rest here and not really do anything. If you feel comfortable following your breath or noticing the sensation of grounding within your body, stick with that. Or if it feels okay to allow your awareness to open as your body is still for just a few minutes, and go ahead. I'll give you a few minutes of quiet to integrate your practice. From here, notice where your attention was placed. And notice how sometimes our attention or our mind gets really creative and it wanders all over the place. And isn't it wonderful to have a mind that can do all that? And then from here, guide your attention back to your body. So notice your whole body here, supported in the chair, your whole body breathing. If you like, you can bring some small movements to your fingers or your toes. Just kind of wake up a little bit. And just find any kind of natural movement, some bigger joints, or maybe you do a big stretch of your arms overhead. If your gaze was softened or closed, give yourself time to open your eyes, and maybe again you blink a few times, let some more light in, adjust. Now if you like, you could bring your hands to the center of your heart space in this Anjali Mudra, heart mudra. The thumbs touch the center of the chest. May we live from the center of the heart. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.